Just hear those sleigh bells jingling, ring-ting-tingling too. Come on, it's lovely weather to review Santa Claus 2 with you. Can you tell I'm in the holiday spirit, folks? It's the week of Christmas. I'm excited. My favorite holiday of the entire year. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of Home Media Reviews, the mini-series finale for, I guess you could say, Season 6, but Season 6 is already over. Just the mini-series finale for 2024. We're here to review Santa Claus 2. Let's not waste any time, folks. Let's jump right into the history section of the Santa Claus 2. So the Santa Claus 2 hit theaters on November 1st, 2002. I did not see this movie in theaters. I was 3 years old when it came out. So I had no interest in the cinema at the ripe old age of 3. I had heard about the Santa Claus franchise for years after this. The most exposure I ever had to it, though, was the Santa Claus 3. I believe we watched the first half of it in class one day when I was in 2nd or 3rd grade before Christmas break. But up until last year, when I saw the first Santa Claus for the first time, that was the most exposure to this franchise I'd ever seen. I believe I own the 10th anniversary first ever Blu-ray release of Santa Claus 2. I had ripped it a few months ago. It's on my Plex server, and that's the version that I watched. On a budget of $65 million, the Santa Claus 2 made $172.9 million. What a return on investment for Disney here. No wonder they made a third one. A year later, on November 18th, 2003, the Santa Claus 2 hit VHS and DVD. I believe we're in kind of a Star Wars prequels situation here, where the first 2 Santa Claus films came out on the VHS format, but the third one never did. So I believe that we're left without a full Santa Claus trilogy on VHS. You can only watch 1 and 2 on this format, which is very sad, I'm sure, for a lot of VHS collectors out there. November 20th, 2007 brings us our first trilogy set of the Santa Claus films. This was a DVD-only trilogy set, the first time this had ever come out. A lot of these releases should sound familiar to you, especially if you went back and watched the first Santa Claus home media review from last year, because a lot of these are trilogy sets. Case in point, on October 7th, 2008, less than a year from the original release of this trilogy set, there was another trilogy set released. Same artwork, same format, just now it had Disney movie reward points included with it. That's as good of a reason as any to re-release the Santa Claus trilogy. October 16th, 2012 brings us the 10th anniversary Blu-ray release of Santa Claus 2, the first time that this movie was ever available on Blu-ray. As I said, this is the version that I own. Found it on clearance at Half Price Books, probably around the same time I watched the first Santa Claus. But also, on October 16, 2012, there was a trilogy set. Yay! Released as well. Except this time it's on Blu-ray, but it shares its artwork with the previous DVD releases. But hey, now you can get the whole trilogy on Blu-ray in one little convenient package. That's nice. It'd be about 7 years until we saw the Santa Claus 2 on physical media again. On September 10th, 2019, we got a Blu-ray reprint with new artwork and a digital copy code included. I don't know what it is about this poster of Tim Allen as Santa. It's on the 10th anniversary Blu-ray. It's on the theatrical poster. It just, something about it is a little unsettling. Maybe it's the way he's smiling. And maybe it's because we're so uncomfortably close to him. It just, I don't know, something about this is off to me. Guess what else came out on this day as well as this singular Blu-ray? That's right, another trilogy set. Does this one have similar artwork? I don't know. I didn't put it in my notes, so I don't remember what this one looks like as I'm recording this. But hey, guess what else came out on this day? That really awesome Best Buy exclusive steelbook with Dead Santa on the front of it. That was a trilogy set as well. I cannot believe that this exists. There is a steelbook out there with Dead Santa Claus on the front of it from the first movie. I need to own this at some point in my life. I need to have this. I just haven't been able to track it down. Just a few short weeks later, on October 22nd, 2019, there was another trilogy set released, but this time it was exclusive to the Disney Movie Club. You got some exclusive artwork as well as a DVD copy with each of the movies. Previously, the Blu-ray trilogy was only the Blu-rays, but if you wanted an extra little goodie in there, if you wanted to watch these movies in 480p, there you go. Pick it up from the Disney Movie Club, which, of course, no longer exists. And finally, on October 20th, 2020, we got another Blu-ray reprint of this just by itself, but this time, instead of the green artwork, we now have red artwork and a little gold banner up at the top telling us our contents on the inside. But again, we still use that creepy photo of Tim Allen. It just, I don't know, something about it just screams weird. Are you even shocked at this point? Also, on this day, there was a trilogy set release with matching somewhat artwork. It also had the gold banner and everything and a red background. Yeah, of course there's going to be another frickin' trilogy set. But that is it for Santa Claus 2. 2020 was the last time that this movie was released on physical media. Interestingly, though, despite there not being a 4K Blu-ray of any of the Santa Claus films, all three of them are available for streaming in 4K on the Disney Plus streaming service, as well as various digital retailers. You know, like Amazon, Vudu, which is now Fandango at Home, the Google Play Store, iTunes. You can get them in 4K there, but there's no 4K Blu-ray of these. Kind of weird. They have the 4K transfers. Why don't you just put them out on physical media or something? Come on, Disney. So that does it for the Santa Claus 2 history section. Let's move right along to the close-up. Alrighty, everyone, here's your close-up look at the Santa Claus 2. You got Blu-ray Disc logo up there at the top, Tim Allen, the film's logo, along with 10th anniversary down there at the bottom. There's Tim Allen as Santa looking kind of creepy. Not exactly sure what it is about this, but it just seems a little unsettling. And you've got reindeer and stuff flying over the town, and then the Disney Blu-ray logo and the Disney Movie Rewards logo. It's a good poster, for the most part. It's a little unsettling, but maybe that's just me. The spine, Disney Blu-ray logo, film's logo again, Santa Claus taken from the front, and then your product number. On the back here, you've got your barcode. Find your magic code, collect points, get cool stuff from Disney Movie Rewards. Can't do that anymore. You've got the Blu-ray breakdown up here, along with your special features, and a blurb about the movie along with some characters from it and a little screenshot down there at the bottom. Tech specs, cast and crew information, all that good stuff down at the bottom. And if we open this up, oh look, the Disney Movie Rewards code. Back when I first bought this and when Disney Movie Insiders was still active, this code was already redeemed, so that's what I get for buying it on clearance at half-price books. And then there's your Blu-ray disc. Again, with this stupid trend of Disney putting the Blu-ray logo on top of the disc and not the film's logo. That irks me. So that wraps up your close-up. Let's move right along to the menu tour. Alright, here's your menu tour for Santa Claus 2. The menu has a very similar layout to the Blu-ray cover. You got that creepy image of Santa there with the sleigh running across here on the right. Your options over here on the left, we've got play, bonus features, scene selection, and setup. Let's take a look at bonus features first. Inside the North Pole with Curtis, True Confessions of the Legendary Figures, Director's Tour of Elfsburg, deleted scenes, gag reel, and info. A decent amount of bonus content, nothing too in-depth about the making of the film, but hey, at least we get some featurettes there. Your scenes have numbers, as well as screenshots, and they're in groups of 3 here. Let's see how many we have. 20 scenes in total, 19 if you don't count the credits there. For a movie that runs about an hour and 40 minutes long, 20 scenes is plenty. And finally, for setup, we've got the audio commentary with the director of the movie. That wasn't in the bonus features tab. Interesting, you have to turn it on here in the languages tab. We've got an English 5.1 master audio mix. We have French 5.1, Spanish 5.1, and Portuguese 5.1 mixes, as well as 2 languages that I don't know the names of, but those are only 2.0. And subtitles are pretty much the exact same as the spoken languages: English, French, Spanish, Portuguese. The other 2 languages I don't know, but we also have Chinese and Japanese here, so you get 2 little extra subtitle options. So that about wraps things up for the menu tour. Let's go ahead and head on back and answer the 5 main questions as always. Alright, so we're back from the close-up. Now it's time to answer the 5 main questions as always. Number 1, where can you pick this product up? Well, if you're like me and stumble into a half-price books a little bit after Christmas is over, you could find Santa Claus 2 and 3 on clearance for $3 each. But if you're not like me and want to get them within the next week, I'd pick them up from Amazon. Yeah, you can't find these on store shelves anymore. There is no recent reprint of these, which is kind of a spoiler alert for the answer to the next question, of course. Question 2, is this product still being printed nowadays? Absolutely not, no. Number 3, should you pick this product up? I didn't have time to rewatch the first Santa Claus before seeing Santa Claus 2, so I just remember some vague details about it. Basically, what I remembered was Tim Allen is a guy named Scott Calvin. He kills Santa Claus. He becomes Santa. He and his estranged son Charlie, they become close. And Judge Reinhold is in the first movie as well. That's what I remembered. Oh, and Bernard. Bernard was in the first movie. I liked him a lot. So I didn't know what I was in for when I sat down to watch the Santa Claus 2. But I will say, the opening shot of the North Pole is bad. The effects are showing their age from the very first shot. You can see the matte lines on the elves as they fly over the obviously fake buildings. When it transitions to a real set, though, the North Pole comes alive. But this early 2000s CGI does not get better with age. And instantly I was like, oh boy, I'm in for a wild ride, aren't I? However, shortly after that, there is something that I did like. I like how the opening establishes the rules to this universe. Whenever there's someone coming close to the North Pole, everything shuts down in order to avoid suspicion. That makes sense. Why do you think no one's ever found out about Santa's little racket that he's got going on down there? Speaking of Santa, Tim Allen is still great as Santa, or Scott Calvin. He's perfectly jolly and grumpy all at the same time, and that perfect way only Tim Allen can pull off. I'm the head elf. I don't give bad news. That's one of the perks of my seniority. Oh, Bernard, I missed you. Okay, now we get into one of my big problems with the movie, is the plot. Or at least part of said plot. The movie introduces a second Santa Claus. It's buried deep within the first little card there. If Santa doesn't get married, he ceases to be Santa, and he's only got 28 days to accomplish this. So, we have ourselves a romantic comedy at Christmas. Awesome! Just my genre. I love movies like The Notebook, How to Lose a Guy in 10 Days, Serendipity. Those are totally my kinds of movies, and not the kinds of films that I'd rather puke out of my eyeballs than watch. I'm kidding, okay? A romantic comedy can be good if it's written right. It just so happens that a lot of them do the exact opposite of that. I don't understand, though, how this clause was never brought up at the very beginning of Santa's tenure. When we see how old Charlie is, he was a little kid in the first movie, and in this film, he's a teenager. So, Scott's been Santa for well over a decade. Why in the world did nobody tell him about this up until now? Is it because we need to have a movie happen? In my opinion, they should have changed this completely, and Santa should have already been married at the start of this film. They should have completely cut out this entire, oh no, there's another clause that we didn't see. He should have already been married. It can still be Carol, the girl that he meets later on in this film, and they can still have some great chemistry and some great scenes up in the North Pole, but cut that completely. It takes away from what I think the actual focus of the Santa Claus 2 should be, is Santa Claus's relationship with his son. After a meeting with the Council of the Legendary Figures, Curtis, who I don't remember if he was in the first movie or not, he might have been, there's not really a big introduction to him, so I assume he was in the first one. He discovers that they can clone Santa so he can be with his son Charlie, who's become quite the delinquent in his teenage years. I do like how we still acknowledge that Charlie and Scott's wife and Judge Reinhold still exist here. A lot of sequels make the mistake of basically acting like the first movie never happened. Like, hey, you saw that first one, we don't need to make you think about that first one, let's just focus on this one, and let's not even acknowledge the first one ever happened. I like that we don't completely abandon Charlie and his step-parents, but it does run the risk of the movie getting overstuffed. We then meet Scott's love interest, Carol, played by Elizabeth Mitchell. She's the hard-ass principal who totally isn't the love interest for Scott. I mean, come on, he's not going to fall head over heels for her. Nope, definitely not. She's really good at playing stern, especially in the scene where Scott first arrives at the school. I liked her a lot in the role. I think her and Tim Allen have some genuine chemistry later on when they actually start dating. Molly Shannon makes a cameo appearance as one of Scott's dates as he's trying to find a wife. Always like seeing her in anything. She was great as Frankie's sister in the sitcom The Middle. Her bit here goes on way too long. Tim Allen summed it up perfectly with this line. It kind of scared me a bit. I know fake Santa is supposed to look fake. He's supposed to be like this toy version of Santa. But this makeup is odd. Tim Allen's performance definitely goes full camp when he's this toy Santa character. He's the more entertaining of the two Santas. I will give it that. The makeup was really weird. He's such a smooth face, and that beard wasn't laying right. I understand it's supposed to look unsettling, and it did its job, but I couldn't stop looking at it. Hey, like I said before, what a surprise! Scott and Carol are starting to fall in love. Aw, Scott's romantic gesture by taking Carol on a sleigh ride at night was actually unironically really sweet. And wow, I'm actually kind of liking these two together. Okay, my cynical bastard heart is actually falling for these two. Then we get the classic Christmas schmaltz scene, and you guys know how much I love my Christmas schmaltz. It's on full display here when Scott gives Carol the baby doll she always wanted. It's a really nice moment, but I love that it's got consequences to it. Scott's losing his Christmas magic, adding a second ticking clock to his Santa time. Could be seen as overkill to have two clocks counting down to your doom, but I think it helps raise the stakes of this movie. Again, though, the movie feels very unfocused in all of these plots that are going on throughout it. These giant toy soldiers fake Santa creates. What's stopping the elves from ganging up on them and toppling them over? They're pretty flimsy. I know that these elves could take them out if they really wanted to. I was not buying Carol's reaction when Scott told her that he's Santa. She's way too smart to not figure that out. She puts two and two together at the Christmas party. How does she reject that so easily? And then Charlie's reaction to his dad going after his principal was even worse. Kid's acting like he's Jim Gordon from Dark Knight Rises, harboring a dark secret. Charlie, your dad is Santa, okay? That secret's not exactly on the same level as the Batman didn't murder Harvey Dent, he saved my boy. Nice callback, though, with the Tooth Fairy being the one to get Santa back to the North Pole after he loses all of his Christmas magic. Always appreciate it when scenes have payoff. The Molinator at your service, sir. Fake Santa has come to the conclusion that all AI robots come to the conclusion of in every science fiction movie ever. All the kids on the planet Earth are not suitable for Christmas gifts. Everyone's getting coal this season. Arr, 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 arr. We were missing a Home Improvement callback with fake Santa. Come on, guys, why didn't we get that? Then real Santa has to come back and stop fake Santa from ruining Christmas. And after Scott escapes capture from fake Santa, we get some horrendous CGI reindeer slapstick that was not working for me. There's this young reindeer that we see at the beginning of the movie named Chet, who is in, quote, reindeer training, unquote, and Santa has to ride him to get up to fake Santa who's leaving the North Pole. I didn't care for this. The voice was annoying, and the effects do not hold up. We could have had a smaller, more emotional climax if we didn't focus on just, ha-ha, funny reindeer slapstick comedy. The end fight on the sleigh was nowhere near as engaging as the fantastic score would have you think. The effects don't hold up, and the camera angles are so close, it's hard to tell what the hell's going on. Again, we could have had a more smaller and more emotional climax in place of action set piece. I'm not expecting a Martin Scorsese-esque drama conclusion here, but it would have been better than what we got. I like Scott and Carol together, and while the wedding did feel forced, it was a nice scene. I'll give it that. It just, man, we lose complete focus of every single storyline throughout the Santa Claus 2. Santa Claus 2 attempts to surpass the first film, but falls flat on its face while eating a candy cane. It commits the same sins as most prequels do. It attempts to do way too much. If we had spent more time with fake Santa and actually got to know him as a character rather than just, hey, let's just have him be a funny slapstick villain, I would have enjoyed that storyline way more. And the love story, as I said, shouldn't have been the main focus here. We should have already started with Santa being married. It would have streamlined things a lot more. It definitely has the strongest performances of the entire film, other than fake Santa, but I'm totally fine with axing it completely to get a better movie out of this, because as it stands, Santa Claus 2 is not better than the first one. The plot is messy. There's a lot of different storylines being weaved throughout it that just don't come together in a satisfactory manner. I do not give a crap about Charlie. Which is crazy because I cared about him a bunch in the first film. In my original review on my Letterboxd profile, I said this. This needed less story and more focus on the dynamic between Scott and his new girlfriend, Carol. That was the strongest part, and it feels cut down in favor of bad slapstick and a dual performance from Tim Allen. And while I still kind of agree with that first opinion of Santa Claus 2, as I've sat and thought about it over the last couple of days, we should have already had Scott and Carol married at the start of the film, showing that, yeah, there's actually been time that has progressed in this universe, as opposed to just, hey, Charlie is older now, because it feels like nothing has changed here. And we could have had it to where, hey, Santa feels overwhelmed by all of this work that he's been putting in over the last 10 years. Maybe he needs an assistant, and he thinks the only assistant that's worthy of that role is himself. So he creates the fake Santa in order to go back and spend time with his family for the holidays, but fake Santa, through a bunch of dramatic reveals, slowly turns against the whole idea of Christmas. This film would be way smarter and more engaging if they went that route. As it stands, Santa Claus 2, not better than the first one. I did laugh quite a few times. I did have fun throughout it, but man, it's messy. It's not as strong as that first film was. I'm going to recommend it, but it's a significantly less enthusiastic recommendation than I gave the first film. This one is just, it's an okay follow-up. And from what I've heard about Santa Claus 3, it's not going to get any better. Number 4, where should you pick this product up? Well, the same answers as number 1. And number 5, what price should you pay? Well, I bought my first Blu-ray for $3. So if you want to get it for $3, try to find it at a Half-Price Books or a Goodwill or something. Probably wouldn't go over $5, maybe $10 for some of those Blu-rays. DVDs the same way. I haven't seen the VHS that much, actually. I don't know if it's not as common around my area. I don't think it's rare at all. Probably wouldn't go any higher than $10 for that either. Well, everyone, that wraps up the home media review for the Santa Claus 2. I had fun, but I am disappointed. I wished it would have been more coherent and more emotionally engaging and not just a funny slapstick, haha, reindeer kind of kids movie. I don't know what I was expecting from the Santa Claus 2, but it wasn't what I got. But folks, that wraps up home media reviews for 2024. And I gotta say, looking back on all the content that I've produced during 2024, I'm extremely proud of what I was able to do. We launched a successful spin-off to home media reviews with barely any marketing whatsoever. I mean, I really only had the one skit video, and then that's it. 2 weeks later, Kipper the dog home media reviews was happily welcomed into the HMR family. After that series wrapped up, I was really happy with how many people not only watched it, but enjoyed it. To think there were a couple of people that got into Kipper because of my show bringing more attention to it. And that makes me happy. And then season 6 of Home Media Reviews went off without a hitch. Yeah, there were a couple of weeks there where I was a little late with some episodes, but hey, when you have a full-time job, you're planning a wedding, things are going to get in the way. It's probably going to be the same deal next year, because next year is the year I get married, and it's also the year that I am moving. Do I really want to announce this at the end of Home Media Reviews of the Santa Claus 2? I think I will. I am moving out of my parents' house in 2025. The first few weeks of January, I'll be moving into my own apartment to get things set up for when Hope and I get married in June. But throughout some of my videos, you may notice the settings changing a bit. I won't be in my old bedroom anymore. I've been in this house for 18 years. It's been my bedroom for 18 years. And I gotta be honest, I'm a little sad to see it go. But I'm excited for what's coming up on the horizon for me and Hope. I'm very hyped up for what 2025 is going to bring us. And hell, of course there's going to be YouTube content. There's no way I'm stopping this anytime soon. The uploads may not be as frequent as they usually are. There were quite a few Thursdays in 2024 that I completely missed a Thursday video, which, as I said, when you have a full-time job, planning a wedding, and all kinds of other crap that comes up, YouTube takes a back seat to that. This is a hobby for me, so if I miss a Thursday video every other week in 2025, I'm okay with that. I hope you guys are okay with that as well. I know that throughout the last couple of years, you've expected me to upload twice in a week. That's not really as feasible as I would want it to be anymore. I'm just preparing you all for when I miss videos in 2025, because there will be Thursdays where there will be no content, unfortunately. But I'm definitely not going anywhere. Home Media Reviews is definitely not going anywhere. I've already started narrowing down the film list for season 7, and in an update video that I'm going to be posting next month in 2025, I'll tell you all what the genre is that I've picked for it. I think you guys are really going to like it. And hell, I guess I'll go ahead and reveal this as well. Thomas and Friends Home Media Reviews is back for another season in 2025. I think we currently have 8 episodes planned out for that. Could be more, could be less, but it's around 8 episodes for that new season coming out next year. There have been a lot of people this last year asking me, can you bring back Thomas and Friends Home Media Reviews? Where's Thomas and Friends Home Media Reviews? The only reason I watch you is for Thomas and Friends Home Media Reviews. Well, my friends, we are bringing back Thomas and Friends Home Media Reviews. Like I always said from the very beginning, it never officially went away. It just took a break because of Kipper and his show. That took up the time slot of Thomas and Friends Home Media Reviews, but now it's back. Huzzah! So my friends, I don't want to keep you here any longer. I know that you guys have got Christmas things to go out and get done. You've got family to see and presents to open. So I just want to go ahead and say thank you. I say it at the end of every year, but I can't put into words adequately how grateful I am to all of you all who sit down every week and watch my silly little videos. You guys have given me a creative outlet that I never dreamed I would ever have in my life. And I'm completely by myself here. There's no sponsors. There's no ads that I read off every week. There's no corporate media that's infesting my content here on YouTube. It's just me, 25-year-old dude from Louisville, Kentucky, who's got a really big passion for home media. From the bottom of my heart, guys, if you took the time out of your day to sit down and watch any episode of any show that I put out in 2024, whether that be any of the HMRs, vlogs, Let's Plays, anything, thank you. Thank you so much for that. I am truly, eternally blessed with this YouTube channel, and I cannot thank you guys enough, and I can't thank God enough for sending you to me. That's awesome. Thank you guys so very much. With that all being said, I'm going to get back to celebrating Christmas. I hope you guys have a very Merry Christmas yourselves, and I will see you all in the next video. Good night, everybody.